He is so cocky right now, and I love it. But man, that hero costume is ridiculous, but you cannot deny, Monoma looks dapper in that tuxedo, in that suit.
They come running just again. Every girl crazy about it, shine as me.
How is it going, ladies and gentlemen, and what is up, Ross Squad? I hope all of you heroes and villains are doing well out there, but it is finally time to dive into the latest chapter of My Hero Academia. And I'm hearing that this is a pretty hype and good chapter. I was told to avoid the spoilers, which I tend to do for these live reactions, but shout out to Jenny Animation for shouting me out over on Twitter, basically letting me know I had to avoid the spoilers for this chapter in particular, so I was able to do that. We are on chapter number 210, and the title of this chapter is Dreams of One for All. So we're dealing with One for All this chapter in some way, shape, or form. I see Gran Torino in the thumbnail, so odds are we're going to get a little bit of the conversation between All Might and Gran Torino. But we're coming off a good chapter. We got the setup for this fifth and final match, which I can't wait to see what's going to go down, whether Deku's going to go up against Monoma, Shinzo, how the other Class B members are going to tie into this, who's going to battle whom. Those are the questions on my mind. But it was the ending of last week's chapter where we went to Tartarus, we had the name drop of Gigantomachia, and then Darth Vader himself, all for one, showed his face, and very ironically said that he could hear his younger brother's voice, despite the fact that he has no ears. But the fact that we're getting him back into the picture means that after this arc is over, things are going to go down. But I do not want to get hyped on that stuff just yet because we still have this fifth and final match to go through. So I'm hyped. I think you guys are already hyped as well. So without further ado, guys, let's dive into chapter 210 of My Hero Academia and see how this fifth match kicks off into high gear. So on the very first page,
a phone call is here. A phone call is here. A phone call. What? Hi, sir.
We are kicking things off with the phone call conversation between All Might and Gran Torino. We see that All Might is off in the corner, away from everyone else, probably to keep all of this new information we're going to learn from Gran Torino on the down low. So I'm excited to see what knowledge Gran Torino is going to drop on us about Nana and her connection to the Vestiges. Finally, the last sets of the Class A versus Class B battles begins. But behind the scenes, All Might and Gran Torino are talking about Deku's unusual phenomenon. Let's go. Thank you for getting back to me so quickly. Unfortunately, I'm right in the middle of class right now, and Shimura did tell me something about a dream of One for All, but huh? You're just starting the conversation now? Gran Torino is just getting right down to business. He has no needs to start a conversation with hello, or how are you, or how have you been, what's the weather like over there. He just is getting right down to it, and I can appreciate that about Gran Torino. But man, that title drop right there, just bam, right there, Dream of One for All, not even being subtle about it. So I see where the title of this chapter came from. I didn't remember until you asked me about it. After all, you're talking about a senior citizen's old memories here.
Who are you? Seriously?
He's playing the old man card. Please, trying to play dumb, but we know better. So listen up, but don't expect much. Once we encounter the enemies, we can't casually exchange words anymore. We need to ascertain their locations first and turn the situation to our advantage. So we're cutting away from the All Might and Gran Torino conversation, but at least we are diving into the kickoff of this fifth match. Deku looks really nice right here in full cowl. Man, those new gloves are so big, but I can't wait to see him use them again in this match.
LOL!
But Class A is strategizing right now, and I like the fact that they bring up that they need to be very careful with their communication because they do not want to end up like Class B in the very first match going up against Shinzo because he just threw a wrench into their communication and their team just fell apart. My unease about One for All hasn't been dispelled completely either. I need to be very careful to not get caught in Shinzo's brainwashing. Yeah, Deku, do not do what you did during the sports festival. Be very smart, be strategic, and don't fall for any name callings or bashings that Shinzo or Monoma might try to spur you on with. I'm hoping that's not the case. I'm hoping Deku is smarter than that. But we see Deku out in front, being the decoy, and then the three-man group, the three-man and women group of Ashido, Mineta, and Ochiko. Midoriya's team's formation looks quite similar to Bakugo's team's in the fourth set. So we have Ida doing his robotic narration, and Todoroki looks very transfixed just listening to Ida as he's explaining all of this. And then we have Sero saying they're similarly balanced after all, but they don't have a Jiro on their side, so they need to move more carefully than us. Otherwise, they could get taken down real quick. Oh, Jiro looks really cute in that panel where she got her hand up and she's like, yeah, of course, I was essential for our team's victory. But in a way, having Jiro or Shoji for reconnaissance on your team makes it a hell of a lot easier to locate the enemy side. And Sero does have a point, so it's going to be a lot harder for Deku's team to find out the location of the rest of Class B. And even Jiro is agreeing. She's like, that's true. If they want to lure the enemy team out to figure out their location like before, then that would mean Midoriya will have to work even harder than Bakugo did. And I like this panel of Bakugo right here, but that is an excellent point to bring up. I mean, Bakugo used the quirks and powers at his disposal very well in his match, which is why it ended in less than 5 minutes. But now Deku does not have that reconnaissance that Bakugo had, so Deku and Class A are going to have to work even harder to find the rest of Class B in this match. So that's a really interesting point to bring up. And then we have down here, Deku lands on one of the pipes and he ends up pointing, and Ochiko is picking up on that. Not even having verbal communication, just a point, and Ochiko understands what Deku wants them to do.
You smart. You very smart.
That is very subtle, but it just goes to show the connection and just the teamwork that Deku and Ochiko are going to have in this match. I love getting to see that. Yo, I like this shot right here of Deku where it looks like he's popping out of the panel. And you can see him jumping off multiple times of the buildings and the pipes to get to higher ground. Oh, that's a really cool shot. I really do like how that looks. First, I need to stand out and make them target me. Be the decoy. Since I've got the most speed, Class B shouldn't be able to just ignore me. After I get attacked by Class B and deduce their locations...
What is that? What the fuck is that?
In this panel, it looks like something is in the distance because we have some characters floating up this really small black dot. I'll cooperate with Uraraka and the rest of the team to capture them. And then we have a barrel pop out of nowhere. Hang on a second. Was this barrel small and then did it grow in size?
Looks like a quirk that makes things bigger.
We've seen a quirk like that in the anime, in the provisional license exam, the filler where we had the ninjas going up against Todoroki.
Just what I'd expect from the runner-up of the UA Sports Festival.
Is this Kodai's quirk? Because I think from this, she's able to shrink and grow things, maybe. This could be it. So we're getting a similar quirk that we kind of saw in the filler. Oh, I'm curious if that is the case. But Deku down here saying that's Yanagi's. Here it comes. So the barrel's being thrown at Deku. Could it possibly be possessed by our poltergeist girl? Maybe she's inside the barrel moving it, and Kodai shrunk it down, and then poltergeist girl moved it, and then once it got close enough to Deku, you increase it in size so it causes more impact. That would be a really impressive combo move by those two. I mean, I'm hoping we get their quirks revealed on what they actually do, because I'm curious if this is just one person or if this is a combination move between the two. Kya! So I'm guessing that's a sound effect. because that does not sound like a normal thing someone might say. So, kya, and Deku turns around looking rather shocked, and he's thinking about Ochiko. He says, Uraraka. So something might have happened in the distance with the other 3 Class A members. But as Deku turns around, I would not be surprised if Monoma was waiting right there and just decided to pop out at this opportune time, because looking at that pose, he looks so proud of himself. He looks so smug, which I cannot wait to see what Monoma is about to say right here. Oh, looks like you found me. After witnessing Bakugo's performance, there's no way I wouldn't be wary of you as well. People like you who have the strength and the moves. Of course, I have to be cautious of them. That's what any clever person would think. And while he's saying all this, he is twirling the pocket watch in his hand. He is so cocky right now, and I love it. But man, that hero costume is ridiculous, but you cannot deny, Monoma looks dapper in that tuxedo, in that suit.
They come running just they can. Every girl crazy about it, shine as me.
It's ridiculous for a hero costume, but it works for him. But Deku says Monoma in his mind, which is curious because he hasn't said anything out loud. We've only been getting Deku's thoughts thus far. So I think he's a little wary on whether or not Monoma copied Shinzo's brainwashing quirk. So if that is the case, that is a smart move on Deku's part. But at the same time, a clever person would also think Bakugo was only able to draw out his true strength with the help of the other 3. So I should crush the other 3 first. Monoma is something else, and I bet you he suffers major PTSD from his loss to Bakugo during the cavalry battle.
Bakugo is a merciless force!
He'll never let it go. You were standing out on purpose to reveal your location to me, yes? But it seems my comrades have already found the other 3, and it looks like Deku just kicked that barrel out of the way with ease, and he ends up saying in his mind, he's provoking me. He may have copied Shinzo's brainwashing. There we go. That's what I want to see from Deku. Being smart, being cautious, being defensive. You do not know what quirk Monoma has at his disposal, so be on guard at all times, because if he does have brainwashing, one slip up and you're basically done. And plus, you do not know if One for All will get him out of the brainwashing again. That's the main question I kind of have if it does actually happen. That's 3 on 4, you know. Do you think they'll be alright? And Shinzo's there as well. They won't be able to communicate secretly. You need to hurry to their side. I love just the way that he just talks sass. He just says whatever is on his mind. But I am also wondering if it's true that Shinzo is over there, or if he's actually waiting in the wings here with Monoma. That's what I'm really curious, because it would not surprise me if Monoma was lying in this moment. But wait, what if that Kya just now was actually the work of Shinzo? That would mean we actually haven't discovered their location yet, and you would end up being the one to give it away. Ha ha ha, what a pickle. Monoma thinks he is so clever right now. He's thought of a lot of stuff. He's being very strategic, but he just loves to rub everything in. And I love that about Monoma. He is just a sassy bitch. And I love that. Okay, and Deku is wasting no time. He is diving straight for Monoma. Let's get this fight underway. You won't even take a glance at your allies? How cruel of you. All of this smack talk coming from Monoma is not even phasing Deku in the slightest. He's trying to make me reveal their location with a glance. I won't fall for that. But man, this is a new Deku we're kind of seeing right here, because I kind of feel like the old Deku would have rushed back to save the rest of his team once he heard that Kia sound effect. He's being more like Bakugo here, to where he's being more win to save, whereas Bakugo with his mask, he was more save to win. It's very subtle, but I like getting to see that. And we see Monoma just clasping his hands together like this. I had a little chat with Shinzo earlier about how blessed people will destroy the world. Bakugo's your friend, isn't he? So tell me, how is it that he's able to smile so casually, given that he's the one responsible for bringing an end to the symbol of peace? Monoma just brought out the big guns, the biggest sass talk he could possibly do to get a rise out of Deku. Man, if this was Bakugo, Bakugo would not leave Monoma alive. And that's a sore spot in a way, because Bakugo was really affected, and that was going on in Bakugo's mind after the provisional license exam. He thought he brought the end to All Might. And the fact that Monoma brought that up as well, that's big stuff. Monoma's bringing out the big guns in order to get a rise out of Deku. And besides the sass, he's got nuts and bolts and concrete, and it looks like a small pipe. So maybe he did copy Kodai's quirk, where he shrunk down a whole bunch of objects, or Kodai shrunk these down and just gave them to Monoma as ammunition. But Deku is preparing the finger flick. He is ready to unleash upon Monoma. Just look at his eyes. Deku means business. A few seconds earlier. Okay, so we're flashing back to the rest of Class A, and it looks like Ochako is floating Mineta. I think they're creating some type of trap or something. Just now, that was Shinzo. It sounded close. I really want to see him say Kya with that listless face. So they heard the noise as well. So it sounded close. So Shinzo, whoever made the noise, is close and within the vicinity. Remember to always look at each other's face when you talk. Very smart, Ochako. Very, very smart. Yep, so they have some type of rope and Mineta's pulling on it. Something got stuck to it. And you just see all of Mineta's balls around it, so they're trying to catch something. And all of that debris, all the small items that they shrunk down became big. Okay, so they were trying to catch all of this stuff. And they're just coming straight for the three.
They're coming straight for me! Maximum strength and viscosity! Protect this curve! Acid veil!
How thanks! That's such a great move!
It's my defensive special that creates a melty wall.
And it looks like Ashido just used acid veil. So she created a gigantic veil of acid to protect them from all of those items. And it looks like they're running and ducking for cover.
I think I see him. Wait for my mark. Target acquired.
Oh, we have our Saiyan Scouter boy. That's an ominous panel right there. He actually looks sinister in that panel. They vanished. Did they block them? Or could this be some kind of trap? And you can even see dots on his Scouter too. And he's got some type of like Tron mechanism on his wrist as well. It's Yanagi's poltergeist. So it is the poltergeist girl's quirk. So is she possessing all these items to move throughout the environment? Because you can see them just crashing everywhere. She's just firing them off haphazardly. Yeah, so Mineta is shocked by this. Ochako is even shocked by this as well. And Ashido is getting ready to fling some acid at some of them. And they just grew in size. Kodai has her hands together and she just said release. Is she like Ochako's clone or something? So she has a similar technique to Ochako. Ochako uses gravity and puts her hands together to release. She puts her hands together, says release, and all the shrunken items, it looks like, return back to normal size. And this is Kodai's quirk at work, her quirk size. Ochako just floating all of the debris all around them, making some moves, Ochako, that's what I like to see. So we see a box and more metal just floating around. Twin impact. Fire. They're just bouncing around now. What is Twin Impact? What is his quirk? What does it do? Yeah, so they're right now dodging the ricocheting material just going everywhere. Ashido, Mineta, Ochako, they are just jumping out of the way. I've got a rough idea of what direction they're in. They're spreading out to remain unseen, loading second barrage. So Class B is about to make their move. They're closing in. Reiko Yanagi, quirk poltergeist. She can manipulate any objects close to her. However, she can only move things about as heavy as a person. Okay, so she was the one controlling all of the items moving, but I guess her limit is the weight of a person, which, I mean, a weight of a person could vary. So my best bets, she has a max limit, I would say around 200 to 250 pounds, which really interesting. So I like the way she's also doing this. She's like a puppet master. She is a master of puppets. So then we have UA Kodai, quirk size. And she looks very cute in that panel right there. She can alter the size of anything she touches, but this doesn't apply to living things. Okay, so she was the one manipulating the size. She can shrink or grow items at will, and she can release them very similar to Ochako. And then we have Niranagi Shoda, quirk twin impact, our Saiyan scouter boy. In any place where there is damage from an impact, he can trigger a second impact with random timing. And the second impact will be several times more powerful than the first. That's an interesting power. So if you punch someone and you hit them, and then if he used his quirk, twin impact, it would cause another hit in that location, but several times harder. That's a really cool power. So then if things ricochet off stuff, it would take that kinetic energy and amplify it, and that is why they're ricocheting all over the place. Oh, these are some really cool powers right here from Class B. So now we have Ochako saying that was a shock. They might have figured out our location with that. But what happened to Deku? And now we're going back to All Might and Gran Torino's conversation. Okay, I'm sorry to say this, but it's probably not the kind of information you are looking for. What did my master say? As I recall, it was right around the time she inherited One for All. Like always, the two of us were patrolling the streets. It was just a casual conversation. All right, so now we're just flipping back and forth between the All Might conversation, and now we have Deku. Don't tell me something's happened with One for All. We're getting something right now. Something big is about to happen right now. Listen to this, Gran Torino. I had a weird dream last night. There was a man shrouded in dark fog standing in front of me. And we have a shocked look. We're zooming in on All Might, Aizawa, even Bakugo. He looked at me and said, "It's not that time. Not yet." What's going on here?
What? What?
What is this?
Nani?
What is going on with One for All? We have black lightning coming off of his wrist and his arm, and his gauntlet, it looks like it's shattering. It's like exploding off of his arm. Oh god, this is not the opportune time right now. And this looks like black lightning that we would see come off of All for One. And the fact that we had All for One at the end of last chapter, oh, what could this mean? What is going on right here? Okay. So we're having a mishap right now with Deku using the power of One for All, and that is the end of the chapter. That is the cliffhanger we are being left off on. Another strange occurrence with One for All. This has become an emergency. And to go back a little bit, with this conversation with Nana, she experienced the same exact thing that Deku kind of experienced, and I'm wondering if the shrouded out, blacked out figure was the first holder, the brother of All for One. And maybe this is pinpointing the singularity that has been brought up with One for All, that we have reached the point of singularity, and now we're reaching maybe a next step, an evolution in One for All. That could be the case. I really want to know what's going to happen next chapter, because things right now are not looking good for Deku. I would not be surprised if this incapacitates him and he's just down for the count. Monoma would have to do nothing. All he did was just smack talk Deku, and then Deku's power just backfired on him. Oh man. So Deku, we don't know what's going to happen to him next chapter. I would not be surprised if it comes down to Ashido, Ochako, and Mineta having to pull the weight of their team. So with that, guys, that right there is my live reaction to chapter 210 of My Hero Academia. I cannot wait for next chapter. But for now, I definitely want to hear your guys' thoughts on this chapter, your positives, your negatives, your favorite standout moments, the quirks that were revealed about Class B, and of course your thoughts on with Deku, One for All, and all of that black lightning shooting out of his arm, destroying his gloves in the process. Leave your thoughts down in the comments below, and if you guys want to talk more about My Hero Academia, feel free to subscribe to the channel. I would love to have you guys along with the journey with every new chapter that comes out. And if you guys want to talk about MHA outside of YouTube, feel free to follow me over on Twitter. A link to my Twitter account can be found in the description down below. But that's going to do it for me here, guys. So until the next chapter, chapter 211 of My Hero Academia, I'll talk to you guys next time. But remember, go beyond, plus ultra.